5 arrows, and already the powder with Tairr. Little side note, I asked Tairr before the game how he or she pronounced his or her name. He declined to say and says, "Good luck, I will flame you otherwise." So he will be Zelda, or not Zelda, Sheila, all game. So it is Sheila versus Makinx. And both runners making their way up to the first half of this game. Uncle just giving you a little bit of love. And that's a nice rupee pull, getting 80 rupees right off the bat from a tree pull that Makinx won't have. Makinx heading south of Sanctuary, and it does look like my co-host will be joining us here shortly. Math Girl, you know, it might be a he. I don't make judgments based on that. I'm equal opportunity for everyone here, no matter what their preferred pronouns might be. Makinx looks like he's setting up a Houlihan room to get some rupees. Sheila's avatar looks like it is Dark Girl, if I'm seeing that right. Makinx going ahead and doing that save and quit. Sheila actually managed to pull 1 bomb first try in South Hyrule, so Sheila will be able to pull up. I'm going to keep trying to go Sheila, but it's going to slip sometime. Sheila's heading south to check and just a little love there. Meanwhile, Makinx is heading north to check what's in the Agonid Ledge. Okay, Math Girl, if you insist. And rupees from the spider. So we have rupee pull from trees and rupees from the spider first time. I'm approving of this. Lots of rupees early on. And the swag net from Tairr. Tairr going ahead and picking up some bombs. Has the rupees necessary to save some time and not have to farm them out of the bombable hut down there. Ooh, and the Moon Pearl just lying there in the forest like nothing's going on. That'll be a key item there. And I do believe Tairr got that chicken glitch. Chrono 64, yes, to give you some heads up, Tairr is currently 3-0 with wins over Penguin Puff, Rywick, and Problems IRL. Makinx is actually 2-1 with wins over Mikan and Toho, with his only loss coming to Christos Owens. So both of these runners very confident and doing very, very well in this tournament so far. And really, when you're up against Christos, just take the loss, I would say. Doing well against him is great. Tairr pulling the cape. And a shout out to Theracirx11 for subscribing with Twitch Prime. Thank you, 2 months in a row, Theracirx11. Shout out to you. And Jagger, thank you for joining me.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you for having me on a bit short notice. I'm just getting situated. So what's happening so far?
Well, so far we had the Moon Pearl drop in the forest, so kind of standard routing. Looks like we've also had the Power Glove and the Powder as well. So interesting early items here.
That's a nice safety. And I see Tairr has a cape as well. And of
Tairr
course
also
the
has
bug
the
net, very important.
The swag net, yep. I'm going to call it now. Academ required.
Yeah, so far it's lining up right. They just need the sword to open the curtain and use that net. And, well, I guess they kind of would like to have lamp.
Yeah, I mean, the logic won't let them actually complete it without the lamp, but both of these runners, well, I don't know. Agadem's one of those kind of rough ones, no matter what you do.
Mm-hmm. You know, I find there's really no point in doing Aghanim without the lamp, because if you're gonna be going in without the lamp, you know that the lamp is accessible right then. So, or if not right then, there's gonna be an item leading to the lamp. But odds are that it's going to be an item leading to lamp rather than the lamp itself. And if that's the case, then you're gonna be getting Dark World access, so you're not gonna need to do Aghanim anyway.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Tairr looks like he's heading over to the back half of Escape. By the way, because I was not sure how Tairr pronounced his name, and he refused to tell me, I'm pronouncing it Sheila whenever I think of it in the name.
Okay. It could be Tairr.
Oh, and there's one of our major troll items periodically, the ice rod in the
Nice.
back half of Escape.
So, confirmed pendant turtle lock.
Of course.
It's always when you're not looking for that one remaining item, because that could be absolutely anywhere before Trinex, including in Turtle Rock itself.
Yeah, it's kind of one of the historically trolly items that you end up almost doing 100% clear trying to find it. Still no map check from these guys, so we don't know what we're looking at here in the light world yet.
We'll see if they'll wind up going to a Ice Rod Cave. That's one that a lot of runners tend to put off until much later, until they have either the flute, the boots, or both. But sometimes it could happen something important. You never know.
Yeah, always trying to route that in together, and another 300 rupees, so that's 2 of the 300 rupee drops that we've already gotten.
It's really convenient early game. It's really useless after you do Zora, but beforehand it's really nice to have that off your mind.
Oh, and Makinx just did it. It looked like 3 crystals, but I didn't check to see which 3.
3, 2, and something else.
Yep. Of note, Makinx did do an early Houlihan, and that's looking like it might be a waste of time, simply with all the other rupee options that we end up having so far.
Okay, according to the tracker, Desert Palace was one of the 2 crystals needed for the double-chested fairy later on.
And I will totally trust our wonderful tracker today, Doo-Doo-Doo. Shout out to Doo-Doo-Doo. He's been one of our mainstay trackers.
And it's fun to say, too.
And we have both a bottle and the Titan's Mitt. So, Titan's Mitt Moon Pearl, we're ready for go mode. Our Dark World access already, with no sword still.
Although, interestingly, not quite confirming that Aghanim's not required. There's still that slim chance that the double-chested fairy could have something that she could have the hammer, which you need to get access to the east side, or the flippers.
Or the flippers, yeah. So still real slim chance, but can't officially mathematically rule it out. But, you know, I'm a Kansas City Royals fan. I know all about the mathematical slim possibilities here. And Tairr checking the Ice Rod Cave, just $50. So backing out instead of saving quitting, we may see a fake flipper setup here.
And fake flippers is typically a sequence break, which for I'd say personally for beginners, I would advise against it, because you gotta think harder when you do sequence breaking. You gotta think of, like, if I'm gonna skip the flippers, what if I need the flippers for a Swamp Palace, for example? Like, where could the flippers possibly be? And you don't want to use whatever you get by fake flippering to look for the flippers, because it's not going to be there. It just can't in the logic.
Yeah, it adds some complexity to it, but at the same time, it can kind of guide you in the right direction if you absolutely need it as well. So, Sheila definitely heading up to check Hobo. Will probably turn right around. Since they have the Moon Pearl, go ahead and check what's in the Slim Fairy Cave and Zora while they have the rupees.
This is the primary tournament, so sequence breaking is pretty commonplace here. They know where they need to check and where they haven't checked yet. They have their trackers ready. They have a lot of practice coming up with, I guess, mnemonic devices for how they know what items are where.
Absolutely, and it's not unheard of with these runners being 3-0 and 2-1 in the main tournament. Everyone in the main tournament has been an amazing player. We've seen some really talented, top-notch guys from the last standard tournament over the summer be, 0-3, 1-2 going into this tournament. So sitting at 3-0 is very, very impressive for both of these guys. Nothing doing in the Slim Fairy Cave, unfortunately. Ooh, and there's the flute that's up on the waterfall ledge. So this will be interesting having to go back for this. Particularly if Misery Mire ends up being required. We don't quite know what's available yet or what's required in Dark World, but it does look like that'll be required.
And currently, as it stands, without the lamp, that would be their only logical way up Death Mountain. Because the logic does not require you to traverse any dark rooms at all in order to progress through the game.
Meanwhile, Sheila looks like he's heading over to possibly, gonna check Shahasrala Shuralas.
Yeah, Sandesaurus tends to have some pretty good items in his hidden room.
We've seen some value, but we've also seen not a whole lot. Green pendant from the Swamp Palace. So we do know that Swamp Palace in the Dark World is going to be the green pendant. So that'll be 7 possible items from Swamp Palace, making it a very attractive option if they're item hunting.
Yeah, that was when you first said that, I was excited. Like, yeah, that's awesome. They don't have to do that at all. But in version 26, it's been known to send you to some places you would not think to check because you don't have to.
Yeah, the rule up to this point in time that I've seen in just about every race that I've run or commentated, if it's version 26, A, check Skull Woods no matter what you're doing, and B, check your pendant dungeons.
Luckily, they won't have to worry about that until they find the flippers and the hammer. Unless hammer is the first item in Swamp Palace.
And it looks like Ice, and did I see Pod is the other pendant? Or was that Turtle Rock? I didn't quite get up there.
Pod is pendant, yes.
Okay, so Swamp, Ice, and Pod are your pendants. That's That's interesting. So, what does that eliminate in terms of the pedestal force? It eliminates hammer, it eliminates bow, it eliminates hookshot, it eliminates flippers,
Eliminates
eliminates
lamp.
bombos or fire rod, lamp.
Ooh. And to note, you said bombos or fire rod, so it could have one of those, but
Yeah, Makinx looks like he's picking up the mirror from the sick kid. And Tairr did not check sick kid, even though he had a bottle. So, ooh, that could be a difference maker coming down the line here.
so the pedestal can't have bombos or fire rod, but it could have fire rod or bombos. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
My goodness, this seed. We'll put it this way. I mean, at this point, there could be something on pedestal. Probably not.
Mm-hmm. In general, probably not.
Not with the item. The dungeons that are pedestal are just too numerous at this point in time. Yep, Sheila missed mirror. This is going to be bad. So Sheila, in the meantime, is going to do the digging game.
Sheila being how you pronounce Tairr's name.
Yes, because he refused to clarify how it's pronounced, and said, just have fun. Okay.
It would be more amusing if he were Australian.
Hi, Sheila. How you doing? That is a horrible American interpretation of an Australian accent.
As expected.
It's how it happens. Meanwhile, Tairr's going to go ahead and grab Jeremiah for a world tour here. And for the uninitiated, the blacksmith is Jeremiah because Jeremiah was a bullfrog. He was a good friend of mine.
Probably wondering why you haven't called lately.
Chet is holding out desperate hope for that pedestal seed. You're still saying, it could be this, it could be that. I understand the hype.
You know, they have so few items, and yet they're already in the Dark World 17 minutes in. Something you don't usually see.
No, not something you usually see, but...
No sword.
Still no sword. I think that's the most terrifying thing as I see it, is not having a reliable weapon. There it is. Okay.
Alright.
IPA brought us a sword.
More like Relief Cave.
Meanwhile, Sheila's going to take Jeremiah back to his buddy, but Makinx can go ahead and just mirror over, and since they both have the powder, can also check Batcave as well.
Mm-hmm. And if they're confident with Dark Rooms, you could also do Agate Tower.
I'm going to go
Or
with a big old nope. Just some rupees from Batcave. And Sheila's going to get his mirror and probably kick himself a little bit. Almost high five in here, and we get a lamp. They're lampsmiths.
Sweet. Alright, now they can do Agate Tower.
Absolutely.
Of course, they're gonna do literally everything else before that.
Oh, I would. I mean, there's so many options. They have Dark World access at this point in time. There's too many other options. Makinx, of course, hasn't done the South Hyrule route. We may see him do that, but I mean, he also has Thieves Town and Skullwoods to open up right here, so we could see a dive there. Sackett 82. So the human version also Jeremiah? Yes, because Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Past tense. Meanwhile, Tairr's... Go ahead.
Also was a good friend of yours, past tense, I noticed.
Well, it's because I left him in the dark world, unfortunately. Think about it. If I left you in the dark world, you probably wouldn't be my friend anymore either. Meanwhile, Tairr is going ahead and making that run up to Death Mountain. It's not a sequence break anymore because they had a lamp. We've seen some of the runners, even though there are sequence breaks and going through dark rooms, will try to avoid it just to avoid making those hard decisions and having to keep track of it later. So Tairr, while perfectly capable of doing that dark room, I'm sure, avoided it, I'm sure, for that exact reason.
Well, why do players go into the circle of bushes? I never understand it.
I do, and I think it's just out of habit, to be perfectly honest.
Yes.
And Sheila finds the validation arrow and is probably not going to get it. Shame on you, Sheila.
Where is that arrow pointing him to, though? You won't know where to go if you don't have it pointing you in the right direction.
This is true. I've actually commentated a match where the very last arrow fired killed Ganon, and he did pick up the validation arrow, so... proof.
Required.
Sheila mirroring out, hoping... Oh, does have a fire source, so can go into the basement if he so desires. Oh, but he's got the big key. Was that Andy in the background for you there, Jagger?
Yeah, it was just hanging out.
Tell him I
It's
said
kind of
hi.
loud when company comes over.
Makinx actually going and taking Gary's lunchbox for a stroll here. Interesting strategy, kind of a risky one, but it might pay off. Otherwise, it's a lot of time wasted. And he gets the red boomerang, so... Sheila picking up a heart piece, so still one item short. It could be in the basement, or it could be on Moldorm.
It's always convenient if you could avoid doing the basement and waiting that 20 seconds it takes, give or take, for those 22 tiles to fly at your face.
Well, and it's a crystal dungeon anyway, so you might as well give it a shot.
There have certainly been matches where heroes were made and broken by that basement, by opting to leave an item there.
Absolutely, and these runners are going to be well aware of that. Fighter Sword Moldorm, a little bit rough, but Compass, so the last item is in the basement.
Dang.
We'll see if he turns around and checks it or if he leaves. Meanwhile, Makinx is going to make that run up Death Mountain himself.
I wonder if I would actually prefer Master Sword for Moldorm or not. Because with the Fighter Sword, it doesn't matter whether or not you spin. Like, every type of slash with the Fighter Sword does the same damage. But with Master Sword, if you don't get a spin off, then you're doing half the damage that you could be.
Yeah, from my perspective, though, because it's easier to stay on the platform if he trolls you a little bit, if you're holding your sword out, I would spin anyway, even with fighter sword, just as a protective measure. So I can see myself always spinning regardless, so I'd probably stick with Master Sword. Makinx also foregoing the validation chest, so both of you lose. Done. And the hammer. Oh, that's big. Sheila with the hammer.
That's gonna give him access to East Death Mountain.
And he
A
didn't.
lot more items.
What?
Huh.
I am confused.
Well, he has...
Oh,
I
and
guess
he's
one of the
farming.
fairies. I guess it could be kinda dangerous over there.
Yeah,
Do you recall what's in?
What now? I'm sorry.
Do you recall what they have in their bottle that they got?
It was empty. It was an empty bottle.
Okay.
Oh, he was farming for a fairy too because he has
interesting.
hearts. Okay, so he's going
Stars and
Spike Cave.
horses. Very interesting. I really like this play. This is my favorite cave in the game. I really hope it has something, but it's very rare because you need a lot of items to open it up. So it's rare for the logic to put anything here.
It is, but we saw last night in a four-way, Bo was locked in Spike Cave, so
That was pretty glorious.
yeah, it was amazing and horrifying.
I was thrilled.
Sheila going to go ahead and climb Death Mountain again, and probably going to check that east side with those 8 treasures that are over there. Licking his lips a little bit.
You know, not to spoil too much from last night's match, but I found it really interesting that each of the 4 players was the first to get something important in that match.
Yeah, and it was, I'm going to say, a pleasure to call and a nightmare to call, because on 2 separate occasions, all 4 people were in 4 different dungeons, and it was driving me batty.
Luckily, you had 2 tracker in that.
Yeah, that was nice. And Sheila going to go ahead and open up Turtle Rock, so we're going to get some knowledge here. Good call. Maybe we'll get... We already did the check, but Bombos on top of T-Rock.
It's very good knowledge.
Yep, Makinx also making the good call, and we'll get his bathroom break. Well played, Makinx.
Another great match I was watching, coincidentally, like right before this match started, I was watching VODs of Randomizer, and I saw a seed where the pedestal actually had a medallion, but they didn't know which medallion Turtle Rock needed. And it turned out it didn't need that one, but it gave the players quite a scare.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Chat pointing out, don't forget the first chest and hookshot. Can't get that because you do need the boots to get that. If they had the boots, yes, absolutely. I'm sure they would both be running for that, but without those boots, can't even
Literally.
get that one. Oh, I see what you did there. Yep, the walk of shame in the spiral cave. So slow. But also Paradox Cave coming up here should reward him. Makinx opting not to do the Spike Cave, which nothing of note there per se, but it could come back if he has to make a separate trip up there to check it later. We'll see how that turns out.
Maybe, but then again, Tairr took quite a while to try to force spawn a fairy. Like, brute forcing the RNG to give him a fairy. So, I don't know, maybe he'll just like... Maybe it'll be the same time cost for him.
And Sheila picking up a blue bottle. Again, I saw the question asked in chat. Why Sheila? Because I asked Tairr to pronounce his name, and he said, make it up as you go. Good luck. I'm not telling you. So, Sheila.
I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pronounce it backwards and say Riot.
I'm fine with that. I mean, neither of us are wrong, right?
Just don't say it in an airport.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Sheila does pick up the Master Sword. One more reason to do Aghanim, but they're not going to go there. So that was a fairly prosperous run. They did get the hammer and the Master Sword while up there. Not a ton of items, but just enough to unlock and make things maybe a little bit more comfortable for, say, a Skullwoods run or a Thieves' Town run. I'm fairly certain this is the first time I've called someone Sheila. Not to my knowledge, anyway.
I'm trying to remember if I ever met anyone named Sheila.
And Sheila definitely going into Thieves' Town. Gonna at least pull these first four. We'll see if he goes ahead and finish everything off.
This is typically a really strong play. There's a lot of times there are at least 2 items.
And the nice thing about Thieves' Town, there's a couple things it has going for it. One, it doesn't matter what sword you have. Blind will always take 3 hits per head. And B, the only thing other than the Moon Pearl and a weapon to beat Blind is the hammer to clear it out fully. So it's a really attractive early Dark World dungeon for both of these runners.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a... Oh, sorry. It's I'm trying to keep track of the items that they got so far. They got the small key and the big key, and that means that they're gonna have a few items in the back area. I guess it is a crystal dungeon, so he's gonna full clear it anyway, huh?
Yeah,
that can make a big difference if they have pendant dungeon here.
Yeah, he's going to go ahead and full clear everything. At most, he might skip the big chest if he counts his items right, and there's nothing there. He's already gotten everything. We'll see where Makinx makes his next play, just dropping out of Death Mountain and likely heading over to the Dark World, if not going and following in Sheila's footsteps, going right into Skullwoods, perhaps, which historically has been very profitable in this tournament in the version 26. Yeah, I say historically, like 3 weeks is enough to base history on, right? I mean, we're doing our best we can here with context.
This is going to be a really scary fight with such low magic, so you can't really use invulnerability items, and with low health, it's really hard to dodge the fireballs from blind.
Well, and blind is one of those interesting sort of fights where if you have it memorized, the early part of blind you can get hit, you can go through no hits at all, no problem. But after that first, once he goes down to the bottom side, it just becomes pandemonium. And just $20 in the big chest.
But it's an item and it's off his mind, so it's pretty important. And yeah, he could use the blue potion on blind, but you really don't want to. You want to save, well, I guess in general, you want to save it for towards the end of the game where you'll probably need it more likely. Such as like Trinex or Ganon.
Absolutely, and we're seeing, oh, he's doing hammer strats, which, okay. I mean, still doing very well, and I noticed, you know, we're 36 minutes in. This is going to be our second dungeon clear, really. And this is a very healthy seed. We're already at our second row of hearts for both runners, so very, very healthy seed, all things considered. And our third bottle with the B.
It's a surprisingly handy weapon if you know how to use it sometimes. Very often overlooked.
Yep, where's Vitorp when we need him? we need our B. Meanwhile, we have Sheila doing his map check, getting everything checked out. Be interesting. I'm still a little bit surprised that we haven't seen either runner go up to Skullwoods, particularly with how important it is historically in this version.
That's an excellent point. Maybe they're holding off until Samaria, but that's usually an item that you get really late.
I mean, late, early, this is Randomizer. Everything's relative.
It's true.
Yep, it's pointed out they don't have the fire rod, but remember, only 2 items are at the most 3 items are locked behind the fire rod. There's a lot of chests that are in Skullwoods that aren't locked, and there's only 2 items, so a lot of people could do some checking and maybe find an item of high value there pretty early. Sheila is going to go ahead and check the back, though. Will be disappointed. As well as Gary's chest, so double disappointment. We'll see what ends up happening here. We do know, for our people who are just joining us, they went up to Zora earlier. We did see the flute on the ledge, so we are waiting for flippers in order to get the flute to do Misery Mire.
We're also kind of waiting on the bow to do Eastern as well. Not so much pod, you still... Oh, they do have the hammer. Right, that was in Hera Basement, right?
Yes, that was a major item in Hera's Basement that I'm really glad both of these runners ended up getting, because I would feel absolutely heartbroken if one of these racers went up there, didn't get it, and that ended up costing them the race. Flippers aren't in the lunchbox, Foxing in. We've already checked it. Let's go ahead and do a quick check. Let's get some bets from chat. Where will the flippers be? Because that's going to be a key item flippers required not only for Swap Palace, but also for getting the flute. So let's get some bets in here.
It could very well be in pod. There are a lot
Could
of
be.
things they could check in there. Well, I guess not that many things, because only like 3 chests can be either the bow or an item that leads to the bow. And if that first item isn't one of those or a key, then you're kind of locked out. But
Oh, well, never
really
mind.
don't know.
Sheila picked him up in Agina's cave. Sorry, I got you all hyped and guessing for nothing. Reverse commentator's curse strikes again.
But what if someone guessed Agnes Cave?
Did anyone guess Agnes cave?
Who knows?
Yeah, and Sheila's immediately gonna run and get that flute because there's just too much that helps out with movement.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, we seem like Makinx is going to make that play onto Skullwood, so this could be interesting here. We're going to have the flute on one hand that we know is going to happen, but
Or we could have bow in Skullwoods.
Wouldn't that be something, bow and Skullwoods? I really do like that Agina play, though. There was, no reason to go over there. Yeah. You don't have the flute, so, that's just a trolley location, so I really like that play by Sheila. Now we got a mushroom, looks like, is what I'm seeing.
Jeez. You don't want to see that when you don't have flute.
Nope. Well, we know where flute is. Still one more item for Makinx to get, and there's 2 chests that he can check if he's persistent. Jethrain says in chat, dare to dream big, mushroom into shovel into bow. Man, that's the dream, isn't it? And since I just used my commentator's blessing to bestow upon Sheila the flippers, allow me to use my powers for evil instead of good. I have never seen a pedestal steed in anything I have commented for. Swag Duck National Anthem that I do not know the lyrics to. Where's Dr. Bob when I need him?
Making great use of that boomerang to stun those Gibdos.
Oh, absolutely. And Makinx gets the boots. Okay.
Very nice.
We might have ourselves a race here, ladies and gents. All right, and Sheila's on his way up to check. And there's the hook shot. Oh, wow. And the shovel! These 2 racers are going in completely opposite directions. And we don't know when one is going to cover the other's tracks. Wow.
You know, I feel like Makinx took the more, the more reasonable choices, the more common choices, but Tairr, I think, has the edge here because of that Agina play. With nothing leading him there, what are the odds that Makinx is going to follow in his footsteps anytime soon?
See, that's an interesting point because we do know that flute's going to end up being required. As long as Makinx still continues to make progress, I don't think he's that far behind. But it will be interesting to see which one of these 2 items ends up leading to... And there's the book! Okay. Sheila's making good plays here. Makinx does have boots to Leech Desert, but still doesn't have the flips to get the flute. So these two runners are on very divergent paths. They both have items that can take them away from anything that they necessarily need. And Sheila has the key, so boots might be required. Wow.
Excellent. That's what I was hoping for.
See, everyone likes to see close scenes, but I really like these where there's key items in two different places and it takes people entirely different locations. I love it.
Yeah.
Willard J. Bradley, Esquire, to answer, I had asked Tairr how to pronounce his name, and he said, take a wild guess. I'm not going to tell you. And so I said, okay, then it's Sheila, and he did not respond. So I've just run with it at this point in time. Hey, it's in the commentary history, so that's all I'm saying for that.
It's finally going to Eastern Death Mountain, looks like.
Yep, I'm gonna go ahead and check.
It's really convenient, actually. Now that he has the book for the tablet and the hookshot for Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, although didn't we see him do this route once already? Or did he jump down and do the dark side? Oh, he's doing Hookshot Cave is what he's doing. Meanwhile, Makinx is doing the first part of Escape. Imagine that. You get 47 minutes into this race, and we've gotten so much value out of everything else that he's going to go ahead and just now do Escape. And yep, I'll go ahead and back off. It's okay. Tairr's going to go ahead and check here in Hookshot Cave as predicted. Making a very nice play. I like the idea of, and there's Ether, not necessarily worthwhile, but we have Tempered Sword. So I always approve and like runners who get solid items that unlock other areas and then follow it, because this version tends to if you continue and follow the items that you end up getting, it ends up making for a much quicker seed, all things considered, I've found.
Until it has branching paths such as this.
Until it has branching paths. Gymtopia Sheila is at this point in time. I can't say with any certainty that any runner is ahead at this point. They're both still very close. Keep in mind that Makinx was able to go into some different areas. Sheila was able to go into some different areas, so it's hard to say that either one is really ahead. It feels like Sheila's ahead right now just because of the items. Ended up getting the flips, sending them to get the flute, going and...
Just become habit at this point. Yeah, our best guesstimate at this point is that because those flippers were in such a trolley location, that Tairr's probably ahead.
At this point, yeah. Flippers were in Agina's cave, and nothing really up to this point in time has directed Makinx to that cave. Now, Makinx does have boots, so able to check some different areas. Does have blue mail, of course, and we see Sheila, once he got that book, because book was buried behind so many other things, went ahead and is checking the tablets. Every place that he can check for book, he's doing. Again, following that weird logic there. And thank you, chat, for taking over that Sheila Tairr explanation. I appreciate you. Makinx, meanwhile, going to take some time. Oh, dropped off the mushroom. Okay. Sheila, meanwhile, looks like has everything to go ahead and clear out Swamp Palace, even though this is the green pendant. So, still just farming for items right now. This is an interesting play, but maybe following this V26 logic could see a lot of value out of this. Oh, and Sheila takes a death. To answer breadsmiths, we're lampsmiths this time around. Yep.
With so many items still left missing in action, I'm guessing we're probably going to be seeing a left side in Swamp Palace. A lot of times, if you only have 1 or 2 items outstanding, you might want to consider skipping left side and just hoping that whatever you need is in the back.
Yeah.
But probably
we still have 3 major items that no one has gotten so far, so we'll see if there's a curse on here yet. We still don't have bow, we still don't have fire rod, and we still don't have the Cane of Samaria. Now, Makinx does have the boots, whereas Sheila does have the hook shot. So we know where some items are, and flippers and flute. So it really feels like Sheila's pressing his advantage right now in the items that he has that Makinx doesn't. He's confident about that flippers play. I think he knows that he's ahead and using that to his advantage.
In a way, I kind of get the impression that you kind of want to play with pride. Whatever you found in your adventures, you kind of want to make use of that as much as possible. Just basically pressing your advantage.
And there we go. Let's get some Phantom Ryu love in chat, because we just found the Cane of Samaria in a pendant dungeon in Swamp.
Of course.
Yep. Commentator's reverse curse is on today.
And it isn't quite unheard of to find 3 progressive items in one dungeon as well.
Absolutely not. There's still lots of items in this dungeon that we could definitely see having plays made on, and for a pendant dungeon, keep in mind this is the green pendant, so we could ultimately get 7 items of worth out of here if you count Sahasrah's pendant as well. And chat brings up a good point. Will the King of Samaria direct him away from where the boots are? I don't think so, because the boots were in a fairly accessible location in Skullwoods, and Skullwoods has been popular. Now, he may be holding off until he gets Fire Rod, just to do that all in one swoop, because he does have so much. But
which isn't entirely unlikely either.
yeah, we know it's a crystal dungeon, so he's going to go back up there eventually. The real trick right now, when is Sheila going to go to Skull Woods, and when is Makinx going to check Agina's cave? And if gun to my head, I'm gonna say that the Agina cave play was the riskier play, and Sheila's really making it work for him.
And the fact that the boots were in a place where Kena Samaria would actually help, that might be another factor into how quickly Tairr opts to go into Skullwoods as well.
It might be. Gonna have to watch out for it. Pulling out the blue potion, only 2 hearts. Gonna go ahead and dive in there. Makinx, getting dead rock blocked. Sheila going ahead, getting the big key, looking like making a backtrack, or did he not check this cave down here? Was not paying attention, unfortunately. Oh, getting these, and there's the big key. Tin Forma, thank you for pointing out. We're almost an hour in, and only 2 dungeons have been done so far, but it is kind of a slow seed. I'm not going to say they're taking their time by any stretch of the imagination. Just a lot of this required items are hidden behind 1 item or 2 items here, so kind of making it interesting for the runners. Makinx doing something over here. Oh, probably checking Spike Cave, which isn't going to turn out well for him. And silvers. Okay, we got silvers in the big chest, so still waiting on that bow. Silvers really don't mean a whole heck of a lot until we get the bow, but good for Sheila there.
It's also very nice that Tairr does have Tempered Sword for Argus here. It's really obnoxious to have to do it with the hammer or the Master Sword. I'm not sure which is worse. Probably the hammer, just because how many pauses you have to do.
Yeah, and I think I timed it the other day, and just with the pauses, unless you're really fast with the pauses, Master Sword double slashes are faster. Heck, I think even Fighter Sword spin swings are faster.
Is that so? Wow. Maybe with, like, getting 2 puffs per spin. It's easier said than done, I would think.
Meanwhile, Tairr going ahead and making quick work of Argus. Getting that green pendant. Might see a dive over into Eastern or Pod, but Makinx is heading that way right now as well. Seven Sins Flute was one of the interesting items. Flute was on Zora's Ledge, and the flippers were in Agina's cave. So that's why a lot of these seed is taking so much long, because there's so much back and forth across the world map that these runners have had to do.
I feel like Pendant Pod especially tends to be a good play because of how many items potentially are here.
What is it? 5 items total?
Yep.
Although, again, anything that is locked behind the bow, just not a lot of places that bow can
So
be
really,
here.
3 locations without the bow.
Yeah,
But generally speaking, it's usually good.
Tairr looking like he remembered, oh wait, it's an hour in, I haven't done escape yet. I really hope there's nothing of value here.
He's already gotten the key, so could very well be something back here.
And Makinx getting half magic. Okay, that's not bad.
Nice timing
I'll
for
take
it.
Yeah.
Would have preferred bow, but alright. And that's pretty much the end of his trip, isn't it? Like, he has a key, he could go to the bag, but it's not gonna get him the bow or anything leading to the bow. Just because of the way the logic works with regards to the possibility of locking yourself out with keys.
At the same time, I can see him wanting to do it. He's already got the lamp, and just in case there's something else, like if he pulls Fire Rod here, for example, he'll know that he won't be getting the Fire Rod, and if it's locked behind Ice Palace or anything like that. So getting another progression item could narrow down his search of where the bow actually is.
True.
And chat, I love you guys. My heart goes out to you. I'm just saying. Meanwhile, not a whole lot in pod other than that half magic, so kind of a rough day at the office for Makinx. While we see where his next play ends up being, let's give a shout out to both of these runners, Tairr and Makinx. If you have not followed them already, these two are really been making a very impressive run in this tournament. You should follow both of them to see how well they do it. Tairr and Makinx, also our wonderful tracker, Dude, which has been just doing work tracking so many races. Shout out to Dude. Also, my wonderful co-commentator, Jagger G. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah. And especially thanks to Vitasia for also commentating.
My pleasure. And Makinx making the play. Uh-oh. Flips.
Oh, wow. Have they checked Eastern?
I think Makinx did, but I don't think Tairr has yet.
I'm wondering what has been opened up by these runners. I see, like, Tairr at least has gotten through his progression. The latest thing I think he got was the cane, and that technically opens up Myra and Turtle Rock, but then again, not really, because you can't actually open Myra or Turtle Rock.
Yep, don't have Bombos yet. It's interesting, we were talking earlier about which the riskier play was, doing Agina's Cave or doing Skullwoods, and we both agreed that, you know, Skullwoods, Tairr would eventually get there, and it's only a matter of time, but Makinx actually made the dive to Agina's Cave sooner.
Good point.
Tairr just caught a bee?
Alright.
What?
Good job, Tairr. Hey, caught another bee.
He picked up 3 bees there.
You know what? I think he just wants to go into his inventory, look at his bottles, and say, that's gotta be! Because it's gotta be.
Yeah, that's gotta be. I get it. See, I'm thinking more the Oprah meme where he just unleashes an army of bees. Bees.
That GIF is amazing.
It really is. Meanwhile, Makinx, of course, immediately with the flippers, immediately gets his flute, and the flute will lead him over to the Meyer shed, where he'll pick up both the shovel and the hook shot in Meyer's shed. So Makinx, unfortunately for Tairr, had the item lead, but Makinx is going to play catch up really fast here. If you were Makinx and you see this progression that you go through here, all the items that you pick up, what's going through your mind? Like, oh, I've got to be super behind now, or maybe, okay, this seems trolled both of us.
Oh man, I don't know. Well, actually, Agana's Cave is something that some players do check early, like before even Dark World access. So he's probably feeling quite a bit behind, which, in a sense, yeah, Tairr got it way before. However, Tairr also hasn't gone to Skull Woods yet, but Makinx doesn't know that. So I think they're both feeling quite a bit behind. Or Tairr's gonna feel behind when he goes to Skull Woods, at least, as well. They're both gonna be nervous.
Meanwhile, Tairr's on his way over. It's going to be interesting. He's not going to find a whole lot over here in Pod, which is just giving Makinx more time to catch up. Makinx, interestingly enough, when Tairr came through here before, didn't have the boots, wasn't able to finish the dungeon. Makinx can, so this is a play that Makinx is going to do, and I'll go ahead and say it, for the lead here. This is an amazing play. Yep, keep in mind that Desert Palace is the second of the 5-6 dungeons. They've already cleared out Thieves Town. So, if there's no progression here, it's entirely possible that the progression could be on the Fat Fairy, the Double-Chested Fairy, Pauladine Fairy, if you will. Pauladine, because she's fat, and normally she just gives you butter. Fire Rod, I'm seeing. Wow. Makinx. Oh, that's gonna hurt. We'll see how long it takes for Tairr to go back there, but he still hasn't gotten the boots. Delaying going to Skull Woods, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen it how many times? Version 26. Do Skull Woods.
Absolutely.
Yep, Skull Woods requiring the double dip because you can't finish, can't get that treasure chest without the boots, and the boots were in Skull Woods to begin with. Wow, that's just all kinds of amazing right now. So Makinx playing catch up, and with this win will be ahead, and he has half magic too, so he'll be able to, he can just take his time and just really let loose with this Fire Rod here.
Man, this match is really a boots versus flute story. Like, which one saves the most time?
Well, now Makinx has both, and Tairr doesn't have the boots. Oh, this is Gonna be rough for Tairr. Time Stalker, he's curious. Did Mac actually see what the witch had after drinking the mushroom? Absolutely yes. It was a full heart. I think he picked it up too. Tairr making the play on Eastern, also not going to get anywhere because unfortunately Bo's not going to be here. At this point, I'm going through the options that they have. Without Bo, I don't know. I still say you clear out Skull Woods, maybe do a quick... Yeah. Go Skull Woods, do a pedestal check to see if there's possibly Bombos up there. That would be kind of worst case scenario if Bombos was on the pedestal. And you have to do Skull Woods anyway, so I think that'd be my play.
But then they would need Boot, or they would need Bo for Pod.
Oh,
Which means that Bo is out there somewhere.
I think Bo at this point almost has to be... I'd like to say an Ice Palace. That's what I'm leaning towards right now.
Okay.
But it could be in the Fat Fairy, which Makinx is checking right now.
That's right. Pendant Ice Palace. Of course.
Yeah.
They have flippers. They have Fire Rod. Makinx at least has Fire Rod.
Yeah.
Either Bo or Bombos could be in Ice Palace. Absolutely.
Yeah, at this point, I'm gonna go out on the limb and say Bombos on the pedestal. What do you say? What do you say?
All right.
Chad, are you with me? Chad, are you with me? Bombos on the pedestal. And Red Tunic, so Paula Deen Fairy did not have any progression items. Ooh. You've got mail. It's red. Makinx, meanwhile, after getting that hookshot, realizing, oh yeah, he didn't do hookshot cave at all. So he's going to test the waters up there, get his bacon sword. Tairr might be making a play on Skullwoods finally.
And I imagine with that sword, he's going to flip a coin and decide whether he does a Swamp Palace or Ice Palace. The Swamp Palace does absolutely have more items.
And Tairr's going a different direction. Ah, Tairr! Buddy! Skullwoods! Just go to Skullwoods, please! I'm begging you.
But there's rupees up there.
Oh, okay. Maybe yes. Thank you, Tairr.
Alright. Because he already went through the graveyard, right? I'm so surprised he didn't check that ledge already.
And I'm going to reword a joke in chat, so shout out. You're tearing out my heart, Tairr.
I get it.
I appreciate you for getting it. Lumberjack Cave was a bunch of nothing, I believe. I think it was like a heart piece or rupees or something relatively insignificant. Makinx going to go over here and check the ether tablet while he's in the neighborhood. And Tairr, unfortunately, getting grabbed by that Wallmaster.
It's trying to hookshot through those spikes, which you can actually do, surprisingly. But if you're a little, like a pixel off or something, you'll just hit the block instead. There he goes. Yeah, usually you use the hookshot to stun enemies. Unfortunately, the Gyptos are only stunned by the boomerangs.
Yep. And looks like Makinx on his way down to Swamp Palace. We know this is going to be a good play for him. Or checking the tablet, which, again, another good move.
I don't know how that first bomb missed the wall. It was just barely off, I guess. But at least it hit the mini Helmasaur.
Bow Wow from Link's Awakening stole it. Wrong game. Cram it.
Well, it does have chomps.
Yep.
Maybe it's the same Bow Wow.
It's true. Yeah, Kane of Samaria was in Swamp, and we're hoping to see Makinx make a dive to Swamp soon. And he has the boots, and mirroring out and says, nope.
I'm a little surprised he didn't just take a Death Warp, but oh well. Not that big a difference.
Oh, looks like we might get a pedestal check while he's up here.
Okay, and then you follow that up with a saving quit and get your health back. Smart.
Yep, alright. So everyone, get hyped for pedestal. What are we going to have? Just couch cash.
Move right along.
The dream is dead. It's alright. This seed has been plenty trolly enough. By itself. Flips in Agina's Cave, followed by Flute and on Zora Ledge is just crazy by itself. So.
So I wonder, does this mean Makinx has the lead at this point? Since he's already done Desert?
I think at this point it's fair to say that. Neither runner has Bombos, so they can't get into either Mire or Turtle Rock. We'll see Tairr head that way now, and that's perfectly fine, but yeah, it's hard to say that Makinx is anything but ahead. It's not a huge lead. I don't want to say that there's
is
a huge gap.
As is the back of Skull Woods.
Yep. Get Skullwoods, and the difference is Makinx will have to full clear Swamp Palace, which if he's doing left side, which I presume he will because he still needs the bow, that does take a little bit of time, so it's still relatively close.
Unless he goes Ice Palace first and happens upon the bow and Bombos. In which case, as soon as he gets that cane at the south end of Swamp Palace, then you just skip left side.
That could be a choice, but I don't know if he knows that. But he might be making that play. Wow.
Ooh. Of course, he doesn't know that only the cane is in Swamp Palace, but once he finds out where it is, then that might be what puts him in go mode.
Could be, and he's double checking. Yep. The difference there, I think, and I can't disagree with this decision, is that Crystal is a pendant, Swamp is a pendant, Ice is a crystal. Ugh.
Nope, they're both pendants.
Oh, they're both pendant. Oh, okay, that's right. So it'll be interesting. Both runners in different dungeons then as we're going through. Let me see. How many items is it again in Ice Palace, possibly? Not a ton compared to the chest.
It's 3, yeah. Potential of 3 items. I want to say like 7 item locations or something along those lines. Eight item locations.
Tairr doing very well on that land molus fight. Meanwhile, really making quick work of it. Zumo Pie, I'm butchering your name in chat. Silvers were in Swamp Palace. Swamp Palace had all sorts of value going into it. It had not only silvers, but it had the Cane of Samaria. So
that's a good point. You know, with silvers in, it was the big chest, right?
Yeah, so you have to backtrack.
He was in the back. Which means if Makinx does wind up in Go mode in Swamp Palace, we'll wind up with a potential pseudo lead, but without those silver arrows, which will definitely make Ganon longer, and also probably a few boss fights as well.
Yeah, it's hard to say that, you know, silvers are worth a good minute and a half, 2 minutes easy, even, you know, just with tempered sword damage. So that could make the difference if these two are close going through Ganon's tower and Makinx doesn't check that.
So in this case, full mode, full clear Swamp Palace is about the same time as Go mode Swamp Palace, because you're not saving that minute plus with the silvers. In a weird kind of way.
Yep, in kind of a roundabout way. You think you're saving time, but ultimately you're not, just because of the way it's going, but you don't know that is the problem. And Tairr getting ready to be sorely disappointed by the Paladine Fairy. Well, I guess, yeah, there is a male, and I don't think... Yeah, that's his first male upgrade. I think the... Where was the other one? He's had it for a while. Yeah, he's happy for blue instead of having green mail. I know when I'm doing runs, I absolutely have to get something, because if I'm on Ganon green mail, I'm dead. It's just a fact of life. And there's Bombos! Makinx pulling Bombos in Ice Palace. That'll be huge. So we are a bow away from Go mode. Oh, and he doesn't have Cane yet either, so... Ooh.
Mm-hmm. So we're kind of in... we're a bow away from Go mode.
Commentators Go mode.
Yeah, for his sake, I'm hoping it's gonna be in Mire or Turtle Rock, because that would mean he's gonna full clear Swamp Palace and he's gonna get the silvers. But if they do wind up being the third item in Ice Palace, once again, this could wind up being a really iffy match.
And that's all the items. Makinx cleared out Ice Palace and says, nope, I don't need to worry about Cold Stare. I'm outie.
It's such an unknown relief for him.
Meanwhile, Tairr's heading right there, so Tairr is on his tail. I'll
give that a 4 out of 10.
I'll take it.
That's all you could ask for, really.
That's all I expected. But yeah, Makinx following that lead, because that was a gutsy dive, so Bombo's able to open both Mire, and he's only got Mire... Oh, he's got Eastern Palace yet, too, so... If he gets Bow in Mire before he heads up to Turtle Rock, if it's in either of those, he won't do Swamp Palace at all.
Oh no. I had completely forgotten that swamp is actually a pendant, so yeah. It's a very good point.
Well, no, he won't be able to go into Turtle Rock at all without going into Swamp because Swamp has King of Samaria. So, talking through the logic here, the problem is if Bo ends up being in Misery Mire, or really, I mean, if he can clear out Misery Mire, well, no, he can't do it because at some point he's gonna need, I'm just talking my way through this, so he's going to get up to a point where he can't progress anymore until he has Kane. Exactly. He's not going to be able to beat this without Kane.
So I'd say he has a lead, but he can only get like a couple inches further for now. And until then, he's kind of at a standstill, and Tairr is making up progress.
Now, what would be absolutely horrible, best case scenario for Makinx is the Bo is not in Misery Mire, because that will force him to go and do a full clear of Swamp Palace. If it is here, he's going to go out, dip Pod, dip Eastern, not find it there, go to Swamp Palace, find the cane in go mode, and dip out.
Yeah, I think he's already dipped Pod and Eastern, so that's probably unlikely. I'm pretty sure I saw him. I saw him in Pod at least, and I think you saw him in Eastern towards the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know if all of the items were actually gotten there. Like the bosses may have one item left in those. And Seven Sins points out he may be go-moding it regardless. Math Girl,
nice
Bo Girl, praying for your boyfriend, Bo and Meyer, please. We know where your loyalties lie.
That was a very nice short little hover by Tairr to get across the pit in the Freezor room.
Everyone wants to be Andy.
That's a really difficult trick. It's basically a frame perfect unpress of the dash button, because you can only release it for one frame and keep going, because it'll allow you to move like during the frame before it checks whether or not you're standing on ground. So as long as you only let go for one frame intervals, then you could get a rhythm going where you're just walking on air.
I'm still getting my bomb jump strats down. I don't have time to learn those strats.
There are some there are tutorial videos on it. I know the OK guy had a tutorial video for the way he does it. And there's a great place for practicing it in Turtle Rock, where you, like, if you die, you just spawn in the very same room, right across from the big chest. So you can go back to trying it right away.
Vicarian, new sprite, what's Tairr using? He's using Dark Girl. Red Male Dark Girl, too. Okay.
Yeah, I believe this, they've released over 30 sprites to use in Randomizer.
Yep. Okay, Makinx getting all the items, knows that the cane is not going to be there, and is he? Will he? Yes! He's making the play.
Wow. You know, I think this puts Tairr kind of in the lead. Yeah, I'd say Tairr has the lead at this point. Oh, he hasn't done Mafia, though.
Yeah, hasn't done Mafia, which is interesting, but that's relatively quick. But Tairr's going to go up
it's about even.
Yeah, go up and do Turtle Rock. Huh.
Okay.
So at this point, we know the bow has to be somewhere in Turtle Rock, isn't it?
I think so. Did Makinx find both items in Mire?
Yeah, he found both items
Okay.
in Mire and dipped out.
Yeah, I think this is a reasonable play that Tairr's doing. Actually, you don't really want to take on Vitreous without Bow. I mean, you can do it, but it just doesn't. It doesn't feel right.
Particularly when you know you have Silvers just sitting there.
Yeah. You can't use the Silvers as a melee weapon, unfortunately. That would be nice. Probably a smaller range than the hammers.
Stab him in the eye, just like Legolas. Just, ha! Yeah, at this point, Chad, I really do like this Turtle Rock gamble. You know, he's already has the cane. He has everything he needs to clear this out. I don't think this is a gamble at all. He could probably clear out and have kind of a rough fight with Vitreous if he wanted to. So he's making this play, and there's a lot of potential items here. Plus,
he could full clear this. He could beat Trinex.
Yeah,
he could do everything in here. And the main thing that makes it a gamble is, yeah, you gotta leave, go off the mountain, and then come back later and climb up the mountain again. But at the same time, you're still looking for items. You might as well completely clear a crystal dungeon while you're at it.
And there's the big key. So, I mean, he's not going to go mode clear this because he's still looking for the bow. Makinx, not sure which way he wants to go here. We have our first shield of the game. Wow.
I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I would like to see a bow on Trinex.
That is technically a possibility, and would love to see that.
It might as well be. I've seen bow in Mimic Cave, I've seen bow on Laser Bridge. Let's take it a step further. Let's go all the way to Trinex, then get the bow.
I dig it. I mean, how much more trolly can this cave be, or this seed be? It's been one of those seeds.
In this case, it wouldn't really be any more trolly than those places, because you're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna sweat either way. I always liked bow and Mimic Cave because until I started running Randomizer, I didn't know you could actually kill those guys in Mimic Cave without the bow.
Here, so.
Yeah, and then...
yeah, because you have to kill the red ones with the bow. So I guess you would think, well, the blue ones are the same guys, right?
Well, and I was a kid, and I was like, oh yeah, this is totally what I need to have done. And my first bow seed in Mimic Cave really taught me some hard life lessons.
Yeah, I imagine.
Also, I had no idea Dark Girl's bunny animation was the fairy sprite. That's amazing.
There are a lot of really good bunny sprites.
Oh no!
In this
oh no! Oh no! Makinx making...
He's got
oh wow! Yeah, he got cane, but he didn't get silvers. He got cane and dipped down.
He's got cane and didn't get silvers. That's strange.
That is very strange. He said, "Oh, I'm gonna risk it." I mean, it's a reasonable risk, but we know better. No, Makinx, why?
Huh. Wow.
Yeah, Makinx thinks he's behind, and he's probably right. This doesn't help him though.
That's happening is he's gonna catch up this way, and then he's gonna fall behind because he's gonna fall behind later. I think he's gonna get to GT first.
Oh, that's a direct possibility. It might only be by a minute, but he'll get there first, and then once it comes to Ganon, Tairr's going to catch up and pass him.
This is shaping up to be a really exciting match for sure.
What a day to start out Randomizer for everyone. This is great. Yep, and Ikenrod Karmic points out there's also a lot of time saves in Eastern Palace and in Vitreous, especially Vitreous. Vitreous fight is about half the time if you have silvers. Meanwhile, Tairr's...
It doesn't save much time, but then again, the fight isn't that long either, so I guess it is about half.
I mean, half of a minute is still 30 seconds, so...
Yeah.
Yep, there was a match at 11. This is the second match of the day. As we're approaching, I'll wait until after Trinex to go over the schedule for the rest of the day. There's our second shield. Now, interesting to note, the logic for the laser bridge states that if you don't already have all 3 shields, you need an invulnerability item. And we do have Cape, so it's not as logic break at this point in time.
Tairr living on the edge there. And there it is.
There's the bow. In T-Rock, okay.
An hour and 37 minutes, and we are now in go mode.
And Tairr's going to make quick work. We'll see the Trinex fight here. He has Trinex, Eastern Palace, and Misery Mire. Eastern Palace won't take very long at all.
Skull Woods.
Oh, and he still has Skull Woods to do. Oh. Tairr will just tear through everything now. Dude. Well played, sir.
So Makinx looks behind. He's like half a dungeon behind right now? But that's because he already did Skull Woods.
Tairr did Skull Woods. He still has to do Eastern Palace. Yep, so it'll be close. The real trick is going to be once Makinx gets his bow, he won't have silvers, so it's gonna get rough for Makinx here. And Staff of Brian on Trinex.
That's the full inventory. All 4 bottles as well. Everything except butter.
Except butter and Riot Shield. Yep. No matter what, this game is going to come down. These last few runs, it's been a trolley seat, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us. We're talking items in the world, sending you to the other side of the world without boots, and then sending you back to the other side once you get the one item that it needs. There's been a lot of overworld walking required here. We're at an hour 40 just about, and just now hitting go mode for one of our 2 players. Makinx is going to be right behind him, though.
And those branching paths were a big factor here. They were following the breadcrumbs, and they both got kind of, they ran out of crumbs. And they had to go somewhere completely different.
The nice thing is, I believe this is an early... Is it an early big key for Misery Mire? Because I know Makinx has already been here. Ice T-Rex. Bo was on, of course, the laser bridge, where every troll item in the game seems to be located. And there's the big key, so Tairr's going to just make a Tairr straight for... Oh, there's so many Tairr puns that we can make. Vitreous.
You could say they're terrific. Wait. Is
3
that right?
10. They're 3
something.
10. These puns are terrible. Ah,
Oh.
I see what you did there.
Are you sure they're not terrific?
There's the bow.
It's debatable. Maybe it's not debatable.
Willard's calling for our heads, so we gotta be on our best behavior here.
Uh-oh. Okay. So, we now have bow mode for both of our players. They are playing very well.
Yes, both players are playing to their optimal capacity at this point in time. Ex-Sultano, Tairr is slightly ahead. It's going to be close. I think in looking over, the main difference is going to come down to silvers. Silvers were in the big key chest. We're in the big chest in Swamp Palace that Makinx opted not to check, simply because he had his Cane of Samaria, so he could clear out everything else. So he wanted to just dip. It's going to make it really rough on Makinx to make a comeback here. There's no two ways about that. But it's still going to be close.
So Tairr does need to go into does need to finish Skullwoods. Needs to go beat Mothula, and that's gonna put him seemingly behind. But then they gotta go to Eastern Palace, and he's gonna save time on Armos. They've got to go to Misery Mire. He's gonna save time on Vitreous. They've got to go up Ganon's Tower, obviously. He's gonna save time on the Gauntlet, and then they've got to beat Ganon. It's going to save time there as well. So it's coming down to the wire in this match.
Yep, it'll be close. We're looking at something that both runners could be within a minute of each other at the end. No problem at this point in time. Particularly if Makinx's chest has practiced his silverless strats. Makinx, also having already dove Misery Mire, I believe he has the big key, so he doesn't have to do any exploration. He can just dive in and go. And Lana Bean points out it could even come down to a left side, right side check. I mean, it's that close. And Tin Forma asks, is the medallion requirement for Turtle Rock and Misery Mire always the same?
No.
No, absolutely not. Each has an independent 1 in 3 chance of each one. So, independent 1 in 3, that's what, 1 in 9 chance to be the same?
3 and 9.
3 and 9, so 1 in 3
So actually
chance.
1 and 3, yeah. Because they could both be Ether, they could both be Bombos, they could both be Quake.
I can math good.
It's interesting. It's kind of a math question, but at the same time, it's more of a, like, you can just count the differences. You could count the possibilities.
Yeah, and to point out, there has been a tie in the secondary tournament. So that's entirely in the realm of possibility, too. Tairr making fast work of Mothula there. I won't hit that low-hanging fruit this time. And while we see Tairr and Makinx finishing things up, if you haven't already, please, Tairr, Makinx, give these guys a like, a follow, a share on your Twitch accounts. Help them out. Also, our wonderful tracker, Dude, and Feasel, who's been the man with the plan, doing most of the restreaming for us. Give him your love and appreciation as well. Without these fine folks, there would be no tournament. There would be no what we do here. So thank you all to all of you guys.
And be sure to follow Feasel at Speed Gaming, Speed Gaming 2, Speed Gaming 3, and Speed Gaming 4. And also Feasel.
And also Feasel. And let's not forget our secondary tournament over at Randomizer Mania 1, Randomizer Mania 2, Randomizer Mania 3, and Randomizer Mania 4 as well.
Randomizer Mania without numbers.
Yeah. These are just absolutely amazing tournaments going on. Shout out to the community for growing as much as it has. This has just been an absolutely amazing experience to even be a part of right now.
I've been watching for a really long time, and it's always so exciting watching a match because you never know what's going to happen.
It's why we run the races. Meanwhile, both runners... Oh no, Makinx. Okay. In Eastern. They're both in Eastern now. The only difference between... Yeah, that's it. They're both in Eastern. So we've synced up. Tairr is slightly ahead. And like we said, 1 minute apart. That's left side, right side difference right there. Yeah, Makinx has no silvers. And remember, silvers were in the big chest in Swamp Palace. Makinx ended up getting the Queen of Samaria that was in Swamp Palace, but because it was a pendant dungeon and he was waiting for Kane to get into both to finish Misery Mire and Turtle Rock, he dipped out as soon as he got that. Tairr went in a little bit earlier, needed to find some more items, and pulled silvers from the big chest, so making the difference there was that early Mire dive. But these two have been incredibly close the entire race, despite making incredibly divergent paths to get there. And Tairr is making his way up Death Mountain, so everyone's already starting to talk about it. Everyone's favorite game. Where is the Ganon's Tower Big Key? Get your guesses in, chat. And to win, we're going to return to our traditional, what? Does Herfy Durfy still have enough love and affection to give out?
I think he has a little left here.
Awesome. So we're giving away Herfy Durfy's love and affection again.
Excellent. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Feasel has a bot to track people who are subbed to the channel for guessing numbers in chat.
Yep, that'd be great. So what do you say, Jagger? What are you going to guess?
I always go with 8. It's one of my friend's favorite numbers. So that usually means a fire bar room.
Yeah, I had traditionally been checking the fire bar room until it was the fire bar room last night, so I got to switch it up.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go 2. We're going to get an early seed, I feel, this time. Tairr doing the traditional starting on the right side. Check the chests here. Nope, I lose. And no key, so he can't even check the right side. And
this pretty much was a full clear seed, wasn't it?
Just about. I mean, there's still some treasures here. For example, if we're still missing quite a few hearts for checking as many chests as we did. There are probably a lot of hearts here in Ganon's Tower. It'd be interesting to see. Buttersword could also be here.
There are probably a couple dozen red rupees left.
And Makinx coming in, so it's about a minute 20 behind or so, but the big story are going to be those silvers.
Could it be this one? Oh.
Tairr using that boomerang strat with the bloomerang. I love these strats.
Yeah. Classic NMG strat. For anyone who doesn't know, the vanilla game has a lot of categories. And one of the most popular categories, of course, is no major glitches. Where you gotta go through pretty much every... Yeah, you gotta go through every dungeon. Beat every major boss. Beat Ganon.
Full clear, down goes 7. We're up to the rando room. Makinx saving a little bit of time because he did not go to the right side first. We'll see if he ends up doing the Dark Magician strat, doing this side and then going over, or if he full clears. There's the big key, though, in the rando room. What was that, 9 or 10?
I think that's 11.
Okay,
Yeah.
11. Well done. Tairr starting his trek up. And with the silvers, this is going to be very, very quick here. It's all going to come down to execution. Will Tairr make any mistakes? Because that's about Makinx's only chance at this point in time.
It's absolutely possible for a fault again, and it's happened to many of the top players repeatedly. So.
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, don't count anything out yet. And a fault to Ganon would absolutely make the difference right now. Also worth pointing out, Tairr picked up nothing but bees. So he has nothing to help him out. He's on his own from this point forward.
But he has bees.
But he has bees. Lucky.
Number 13 for Makinx. Yeah. Beamos shooting him into a health refill. It's very convenient.
Meanwhile, Makinx gets the butter sword. That's not going to make a huge difference here. GG. I mean,
it's kind of funny. Like the most powerful sword in the game just barely makes a difference. You would think, oh, hey, it does double damage. It's got to be like way faster. But most enemies die to like one hit anyway.
Tairr's struggling a little bit here on this Land Mollusk fight.
He's got it though.
Yep, he gets it through.
Not too much trouble.
It will be interesting to see if that lack of healing items will make a difference here. Well, I guess he's getting ready to have all get a couple fairies, I suppose.
He does have that net, but will he take the detour? I'm not so sure he's the type to do so.
No. I mean, at the very top, right before Aga, you have the 2 anti-fairies that you can change.
But you do have to bonk across, wait for a bomb to explode, walk all the way into the door, and then transition back, and pull out the Net.
No, after
Kind of a
that.
big cost. Oh, you mean the,
Yeah, the one that's right after this bombable room.
yeah.
Yep, and he's pulling out his... Oh! Missed the bomb. It's anti-fairy and Buddy Beam, yep. So, I mean, maybe Troll Dorm will do it, but I don't think so. We'll see.
Although, yeah, with 17 hearts, I bet he's feeling pretty safe.
At this point in time, yep. Now, does he validate? Does he validate? Nope.
Huh. But what if it was butter? You don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't know. We know better. Now, it's interesting. If you're these runners, you're climbing Ganon's tower, you're both real close to each other. It feels like Makinx made up a little bit of time in the run. You don't see a dot done yet. What's your thought process right now?
156, jeez. Time to get sniped?
1-2 for Tairr.
That was a close one. That was a double. That one wasn't.
So 1-2-1-1. Makinx can make up a little bit more time, but again, I think it's going to come down to silvers.
Those are tough patterns, and to note in the randomizer, the amount of blue balls and the position of Aghanim is random. However, it is the same pattern if you're playing on the same seed.
Absolutely. So Makinx, who's just starting here, will get these same positions that Tairr just got.
So when you race randomizer, it still comes down to skill.
Yep, and looks like he's going to use cape strats in order to avoid
Very nice
flying
positioning.
bats. Yep. And Makinx getting the quicker kill on Aga on his way there. Still doesn't see a dot done. Oh boy.
Please don't fall.
No, please do fall, because that would be hype. Yeah, Ganon is trolling here.
Yeah, he's not even pulling out silvers for that first hit. He's not going to chance it. Okay.
Yep. Ooh, real close, and he's got the 4 hits. Tairr completing with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 21 seconds. GG Tairr, or Sheila.
Well played.
Makinx has got to be wondering. He's like, oh, it was so close.
It really was.
And we'll get the official SRL times once Makinx completes. But he's not that far behind. Although, we're going to see the big difference here, no silvers.
So without silvers, you can actually still damage Ganon with... I believe it is a glitch that you're not supposed to be able to, but if you do manage to get a hit on Ganon as he's teleporting away, he doesn't freeze immediately, but he does get hit by it, so it does damage anyway.
Yeah. And we have the winner, Tairr, or as I said, for half of the race, Sheila. Congratulations.
You seriously did it?
Yes, I seriously did that. You told me it was... GG either way. How you feeling after that troll of a run?
Wow, I seriously thought I would lose.
159. Yeah, that's really that was a drawn out seed. A lot of did you think you were kind of on the right path when you got those? When you went to Agana, you got the what even was it? I don't even remember anymore. It was the flippers, right?
Yeah. Agana
got you to the hook shot. How were you feeling about that?
I was like, should have checked that earlier. Since, which saved me a trip to Zora and stuff, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but after finding the boots, I was like, well, GG. I seriously thought I would lose. Boots so late.
And do we know if Makinx is going to be joining us?
I invited him. He just finished. Okay. Makinx officially finished with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 1 minute, and 13 seconds. So just under 2 minute difference. Keep in mind here, Tairr, that Makinx didn't have silvers. So he was only about 45 seconds to a minute behind you, and then the silvers caught you up, or kind of put more distance there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were like halfway through Turtle Rock when he entered Turtle Rock, but he had already done Skull Woods. So he was dungeon up on you. Without those silvers, he was like, that lead was slipping.
Yep. $201.13 versus 159.21. It was just 2 seconds, just a bit less than 2 minutes. And I think we have Makinx in the waiting room if we can get him pulled down here.
Very well done. It was a really good Ganon fight as well. You really... I got the impression you were trying to make absolute sure you didn't fall down when you pulled out that lamp right away. Were you worried about getting a troll, like, teleport at the last minute?
Yeah, kinda.
It was really well handled. You got a double to finish it off. Well done.
In the meantime, it's interesting because, watching your routing, it seemed like as soon as you got an item that unlocked something, you immediately put it to use, and that ended up unlocking a lot of different plays. Was that intentional by you? Did you make that conscious decision, or was that just how you were led?
Could you repeat it?
The idea is that a lot of the items that you had, flippers led to, flute, and you immediately used the flute to send you somewhere else. It's like, did you intentionally make the conscious decision to follow the items, or did it just
yeah.
Kind of just version 26 mentality, really.
Yeah. Anyway, meanwhile, GG Makinx joins us. How are you feeling?
Not quite hearing him yet. And I guess what he was kind of getting at is, like, did you have a kind of route in your head before you got the items, and then...
Oh, no.
Like,
I wrote on the fly.
Alright. And man, just that branching path of finding boots in Skull Woods.
Yeah, to kind of walk you guys through what we were seeing here, and it was absolutely fun to watch. Tairr, you hit Agina's cave early to get the flippers, and that kind of led you in one direction. Makinx instead did the early Skull Woods play and ended up getting boots, and that led him to a few other items. So you both kind of had these divergent paths that went two different directions. And we thought, to be perfectly honest, you would go to Skull Woods before Makinx would go check the Agina cave, because nothing was really pulling him that direction, except he made the play. So it looked like Makinx was leading there for a while.
Yeah, we had no idea when either of you were gonna come up with the others. We're gonna follow in each other's footsteps.
Hey guys.
Hey, welcome.
Hey, there you are.
Yeah, it's some mic problems.
All right.
I wasn't plugged in right, I guess.
So how
There you go.
You got the boots, and that took you on a bread trail.
For me, yeah. Well, what mostly put me on, well, not so much the boots, but put me on a bread trail. I was just lost most of the time because I never checked Agina, of course, where the flippers were, which was the main item to progress at that point.
So just so you know, Makinx, the silvers were in the big chest in Swamp.
Oh,
And
all right.
Tairr had gone in there, and he was still full clearing, trying to find all the other items.
Yeah.
So he ended up going back, getting the silvers, and you dipped out as soon as you got the Cane of Samaria.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I did left side first, and then I went out. Yeah. At that point, I thought I was really behind, so I just decided to not full clear that dungeon.
That's understandable. We were thinking that both of you had to have been feeling behind for completely different reasons, because you got the boots really early and he got the flute really early. So you were both pretty much stuck at some point trying to come up with the other one's plays.
In the meantime, I think we're going to have to cut this a little bit short because there is a speed gaming event for Metroid going on right now.
You guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
So you got anything else you wanted to say?
No, might be having some more mic problems, but
Might be
we're
having...
we're going to go ahead and get it cut off so we can go ahead and let the Metroid folks go. If you're interested in more Zelda Randomizer, we have an amazing race going on right now over at Speed Gaming 3. Amazing M. Pharaohs versus Christos Owen. If you'd like to see some more Rando, that's going to be the peak competition that you could possibly see right now. Head on over there. Finishing up here, my name's Vatasia. With me, my wonderful good buddy here, Dagger G.
Thank you.
All right, and have a good race, everyone, and a good rest of your day.